Zach, are you kidding me?
Messed up.
You're kidding me, right?
Let's try that again.
That's what I'm talking about.
Welcome everybody to the 4th or 5th edition of the Cat and Zach show. Alex couldn't make it, obviously, so we're back and we're gonna talk some Andor, and if we have time, some Rings of Power and House of the Dragon, because Rings of Power is ending season 1 tonight, right?
Tonight, yes.
Yeah.
Holy shnikes, I forgot. I'm so high off of Andor, I forgot about everything else. So
Yeah, well, let's get into Andor, because that was a freaking episode, wasn't it?
that was.
What are your general thoughts? Because Alex and I talked a bit after the episode the other night.
Yeah, I mean, freaking epicness. Like, the whole time I wanted to die. Like, I was just anxious the entirety of it, which I think speaks to how well they it's tough because I don't know if it can coexist or if they can be mutually exclusive, to have 2 episodes of build up and to have to stick with that impatience. But then it just feels so good when it pays off. Like, it's so satisfying, and I was so invested and on the edge of my seat because they had taken the time and done their due diligence to actually really fully develop the team dynamic and these characters. So I felt something, spoiler alert, when they all died. So like, I don't know, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts if the two can exist, because for an audience, people were dropping off and couldn't get past the slower paced episodes in which nothing really happens, quote unquote, but then the payoff is so great and it's almost like you need those episodes. So what are your thoughts on how to navigate that?
Well, first, what's up, Charlie, Alice, Stanley's Fulcrum, Orandagello Gaming, and yeah, everybody, welcome in. Anyways, I thought, so this is a weird comparison, but I was lying in bed last night and I was watching a video of like a mountain lion, like not like, it was like following a dude with a gun, and the guy's like filming and he's like, go away, and the mountain lion is like creeping towards him really slowly, and then like it'll just like run at him like really quickly. And that's what like Andor is. Like, it's like creeping along, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, and it like tries to lunge at you. And I think that it, like, I can understand how it would test the patience of people at times, but when you go and deliver an episode like that, like, I don't even care anymore. And like, really the only fix that I would suggest is just like maybe release 3 episodes at once and you'll solve like all those problems. But that episode was so freaking good. I compared it to like a mini Rogue One, how it was like everybody dies and you're like, oh my god, that sucks. Like, I liked all of them. And I guess not everybody, like mostly everybody, like 90% of them die. But I was like you, like I was live streaming it. I barely spoke the entire episode because I was just so engaged and like locked in. And I was like, I don't want to talk because it's so intense right now.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure I caught like 50 flies in my mouth because the whole time I was just like, like, I don't think, even watching my reaction back, I was like, sweet Lord, close your mouth. Like, but it was definitely, you're so right. Now, do you think there's a reality in which Disney Plus would ever actually see the fan reaction and be like, you know what, maybe they're right, maybe we should release episodes in the chunks in which they were clearly written? Like, obviously the first 3 episodes are meant to be a mini movie. That's one story. Second 3 episodes, whole different story. And I almost even forgot about everything that transpired in the first 3 episodes, frankly, because it was like a different show. If you look at episode 1 to episode 6, it's like the journey we've already been on. Like, I forgot about all that because you're just so like enthralled with the mission at hand. It's like, oh my gosh, like they are doing an incredible job of really fully fleshing out each little mini arc here so that I am fully freaking invested. But I don't know if there's a future in which Disney Plus would actually realistically do that.
I don't think they, the only, like, what I would do is I would have like episodes come out every other week. That way, from a business standpoint, you keep people having to be subscribed to Disney Plus, and then you release 3 every 2 weeks, and
Ooh,
it's like,
that's smart.
so yeah, that way it's like the best of both worlds. Like, yeah, you don't get Andor for a week, but I think I suggested like maybe you release a behind the scenes like 30-minute, like the making of the last 3 Andor episodes, and like you really sat in the
Yeah.
gap, so there's something to watch. And then the next week you get 3 more episodes, and that way the pacing doesn't feel so like start and stop. But personally, like, I'm okay with it if I'm going to like be able to expect like greatness in that 3rd episode. Um, but I do totally understand the slowness of it, because it has been slow. Like, it is what it is. Like, we call a spade a spade. It's definitely been slow at times, but um, I just think that like it's paid off every single time. So I'm gonna trust them. But I would,
Yeah.
if I were like the head honcho at Disney, I'd structure it that way.
I was gonna say Disney Plus, if you're watching this, hire Zach because that's
Yeah,
brilliant. And honestly, like House of the Dragon has those little mini 5-minute behind the scene reels after each episode, which I think helps to like stir discourse even more on Twitter. Like I go on Twitter, I don't see anybody talking about Andor the way I see people talking about House of the Dragon because it gives insights to the episodes and you
yeah,
see the cast members and showrunners saying, "Oh, this was the idea behind this scene," or like, "Oh, X line was completely improvised and we left it in." Like all those fun facts about the making that you wouldn't inherently guess from just watching it. Like it gives people something to talk about after the fact online. And so like literally Twitter I treat now just like not a book club, but like a film and TV movie club to like go and see how everyone is talking about these things. And like Andor's not quite there yet. If anything, I
yeah.
still see people saying like, "Is anybody even watching Andor?" Like, so you're so right. I think that would be instead of saving it all for the gallery at the end, like show it intermittently, like especially because a show like Andor too, like I want to see their sets. Like I want to see like how big this crew is because they did so much on location. Like I want to know
Exactly.
where'd they find that bridge? Like I want to learn about how they scouted or built some of these sets and locations. Like there's so much. I hope there's going to be a gallery after this because how the heck could there not be? But
Yeah, because it's like with Obi-Wan, it's like, okay, so you shot that on the volume. Okay. What about this scene? Oh, also on the volume. Okay. But here it's like I want to know what's real and like what they created and like what's natural. So I totally feel that. And I do think that Game of Thrones or like House of the Dragon, it has such an advantage, and Rings of Power, it has such an advantage because like the events of those shows are like the big events of those universes at the time. Whereas like Andor is like this side character from a spin-off movie. It gets his own series, and it's like these events are not like you wouldn't find these in the main story of Star Wars. They're gonna be off in the appendices somewhere. And the fact that it's still so good and still so engaging is really impressive. And I hope that the numbers reflect it on Disney Plus. I don't expect it to be doing Obi-Wan numbers or anything, but I
yeah.
really hope that they don't write off the show because not a lot of people watch it, because it really is so good.
No, I keep like I'm trying to savor this now because this is like currently ruining every other Disney Plus Star Wars show for me. And from here on out, like how am I even gonna watch a show that doesn't like compare to this quality? Could you imagine if the release had been flipped and we got Andor first before
Oh
Kenobi
God.
and like saw how visually epic this was? Like that's everybody knows that's my biggest gripe with Kenobi. Like why wasn't it given the feature film like care and like budget that Andor clearly has? Like
Yeah.
genuinely curious because that's the story of Star Wars that people want to see versus as you said a side character who, everybody was like, "Huh?" collectively when they announced this show and here it is being the best one on the app so far out of the Star Wars like productions.
Yeah, I might even say it's up there with Loki for me. Like I think those are the 2 best Disney Plus shows. But I wanted to ask you about this because Alex and I were kind of talking about it. Um, Both Kenobi and Andor have now had heist episodes, and I think the way that this heist was handled is like it's like comparing, I don't know, like the Mona Lisa to like a drawing that I drew when I was like 4. Like it's not even close, Kat, like in
This
my
is
opinion.
this is gonna sound horrible, but what was the heist in Kenobi? The rescuing
Exactly.
Leia mission?
Yes, rescuing Leia. And
Oh my god, I'm so bad.
that's like, so compare those two for me. Like what do you what do you think about that?
I mean, my brain literally shut down for a split second when you said both of these shows had heists because granted, Obi-Wan was acting single-handedly versus the team dynamic, so there were differences. But even going into that, for Kenobi, I'm pretty sure we were all acting and expecting like there was going to be an episode in between Obi-Wan Leia getting captured and
Yeah.
Obi-Wan getting her back. Like, I think that heist could have benefited from that versus literally the next episode going to get her. And I just think I gotta give it to them because I thought Andor it was going to be kind of swapping back and forth between the crew and Mon Mothma because she still has this big formal event coming up, correct? That she's like not looking
Unless
forward
they
to.
skipped that. I was
Is
under
that
the impression that
not?
they skipped it because they set the table for it, and then she's like, "I don't want to do this," and he's like, "Well, it's too bad, you have to." And then like the next day, the table was not set anymore, and they were eating breakfast.
Oh, you're
Also, don't
right.
worry about it, X-wing. Don't need to worry about that.
This is me and Zach slowly phasing out Alex.
This is the Cat and Zach show. We don't talk about Alex here.
But yeah, I think that's where the fleshing out of the plot played a huge role in. Granted, perhaps I was also literally just like shaking and so nervous the entire time because I wanted it to be really good. And it's like that anxiety of like, what if this doesn't fulfill, like what if this doesn't deliver what I've been freaking waiting all week for? But it did and more. Like it did that 100 times over. And it was like freaking like I wanted to cry rewatching it because I was just like, this is so amazing and looks so incredible. All of the celestial event and the TIE fighter, like all of that action sequence looked freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, it did. Also, yeah, so the plan is nearly complete. Oh, I'm afraid the Cat and Zach show will be fully operational when your friends arrive.
Oh
But
my
yeah, I agree.
god.
Like this episode was like a 9.5 for me. And I could not help but compare it to the Kenobi heist because what I liked about this episode is that it laid out like neatly every part of the plan. It explained everything. There were no like gaps in logic. Like um in Obi-Wan, for example, like I don't know how they were able to infiltrate such a secure base. Like I think they used the logic that like, oh, nobody would be stupid enough to try to break into here, so we don't have any air support. It's like, what? Like that's so stupid. And then he just like swims in and opens it just felt like they were like, yeah, we have to get from point A to point B, and we're not going to worry about all the stuff in the middle. Whereas Andor was like, no, this is an actual heist. We have to do this at this exact time where there's this celestial event going on, and like we all have our jobs. You two are going to swim across, then you're going to jump down, and we have to do this. And it's like it was so good. And also, I think it, to be fair, had the advantage of most of the characters that were in on the heist, we had no idea if they were going to live or not. Whereas with Obi-Wan, like we know Obi-Wan lives, we know Leia lives.
Mhm.
So that was also a tension factor. But this episode was amazing. Yeah, somehow Alex vanished. What's up, Bird Church? We agree, X-Wing. It was probably the best episode of the series.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next batch is going to be.
Well, that's the thing. It did like this episode delivered and it could have ended and I would have been like, "Oh my god, that was everything." But they went the extra step and included a tiny sneak peek of the ISB reaction to this and the sheer like
Yeah.
you could tell they were so off guard, so panicked, on high alert. Everybody in the Senate like to create an episode this epic and then show just a tiny little snippet of the reaction, I'm even more excited going into next week to see what the heck is their response going to be, because this was initially like a terrorist attack like against the
Yeah,
empire, like
it's like
people
a mini
died.
mini 9/11 basically.
Oh god.
Well, maybe not like that. Like a mini attack on a military base. But
Yeah, it's a military base. That's
yeah.
I forgot about that too. And they stole a boatload of
Yeah,
credits. Like the response and retaliation to this, like that this episode not only freaking fulfilled and delivered, but it went to raise the stakes at the end a little bit too, to be like, shiz is gonna hit the fan after this. So
I agree. Yeah, Cinta got I don't know what they're like, she's kinda just there still on the planet and she got left behind. I guess that's part of the plan though. I wonder what she's gonna do.
I was curious about that too, because it didn't look like she was trying to like even get a head start and like flee the scene or run away. Like she fully changed into that uniform and then like just went out to view
Yeah.
the event, like among other officers and the Aldani like locals who were watching the whole thing. Like I don't is part of the plan, is there still part of the plan that she has to execute perhaps to like stay behind? And I don't I don't know exactly, but it didn't look
Sh
like she was, like, trying to get out of there.
She's got to though, because like she can be identified by all those people who she was holding hostage. It doesn't matter if she's wearing anything or not. They're like, yeah, that chick just like held us up, like arrest her.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, that's so true, and they are probably gonna be, like, totally vetting all of their actual employees now and stuff because they were disguised as officers and employees and whatnot and soldiers, so there's it's not like they're just gonna be going back to business as usual. So I was like, what is the purpose of them showing that she isn't hightailing it out of there, like, when
yeah.
she has the chance, you know? So, I don't know.
This is also a good point, Alice. I feel like this might be ruining like anything else that's gonna come out for us because now I'm gonna expect this level of writing, and it's not fair because Bad Batch is like a kids show first and foremost. But I really hope they go a bit darker with season 2, kind of like how the Clone Wars got progressively darker and Rebels got progressively darker too. They need to do that because if we get the same quality as season 1, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna care very much.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, is Bad Batch, is it even supposed to be a kids show, or is that just how it feels, the quality compared to? Because I would look at Clone Wars final season and be like, "That is not for children, like, at
Yeah,
all."
at least the last 4 episodes,
For
yeah.
yeah, Martez Sisters, that's for the
Yeah,
kids. They can watch
that's
that
for the
one.
it's for the children. They love that stuff.
But no, that's so true. That's why I'm fully listening to you now, Zach, when I asked you, "When's Bad Batch coming?" And you said, "Don't worry about it." I've forgotten about it.
Don't worry about it.
I don't only not worry, I just don't even think about it.
Well, we really didn't think we'd get that far. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about here, but I feel like that could explain like the whole Obi-Wan heist. It's like we didn't really think about how he's gonna get in and how he's gonna successfully do this. Whereas like
Oh,
Andor did, like it thought about every in and out of this plan, and it was a good plan, and it still failed. Like it didn't fail, but it like definitely hit a bump in the road, and like everybody died. So, um,
yeah.
yeah, I just hate that like and we keep going back to this, but I hate that they did Kenobi dirty with like budget and not giving it the tender love and care it deserved. And every episode of Andor just hammers that home more for me. And it's so sad because I wanted this for years to see Ewan McGregor back in that role. And the fact that they didn't give it its due diligence, it hurts me. It freaking hurts me, man.
Yeah, because that, like I said, is my biggest gripe with Kenobi. Like, what Andor is now and what it is doing for Star Wars and changing the game for Disney Plus and Lucasfilm, I that's what I thought Kenobi was going to be. Like, that's how I imagined I was going to feel with Kenobi. And Kenobi did make me feel things. Like,
Yeah,
it definitely
yeah.
delivered the emotions and the gut punch, and I was ugly crying. Like, I wanted to cry, and I did. But Andor is giving just, like, revolutionary everything, like, which I thought Kenobi was going to be doing. So, like, they're delivering different benefits, but you're so right. Like, what how I just want to see I'm curious why there's not more consistency amongst the quality of the shows. Like, not that I would
Yeah,
look at any Star Wars Disney Plus show and say that it's unwatchable at the moment, but like, why is Andor so freaking above all of the rest of them right now?
it truly is bizarre. And we're gonna do episode 2 of Zach Illustrates with the Paint program right now. But
Let's
this is how I would
go.
describe like the like Kenobi basically. It's kind of like on a graph, it'd be like going along, and then it's like that. And it's like
Yeah.
oh god, I just screwed up. Anyways, it's like that, and then like that, and then like that. That's kind of like how Kenobi is for me. Whereas like Andor is kind of just like a steady climb. It's a good old steady climb. And thank you for watching my Bob Ross impersonation. But
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it sucks. Like I don't understand. Like Kenobi felt like it should have been such an easy layup for Lucasfilm, and they still fumbled it. And I know that like I loved certain parts of Kenobi, and I feel like as I've gotten further away from it, I've kind of come down a bit on it. But I still did love seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan in the flashbacks. I loved episode 5, and I loved most of episode 6. And there's great things in there, but I always felt like it was not like the show never earned that. It was more like what came before. Like George Lucas earned those moments that we got in the show. The Clone Wars earned those moments that we got in the show. It was never the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that earned those moments. And so I feel like that always felt like a disconnect for me personally. But in Andor, like that's not going to be a thing in Andor, so that's good. Yeah, Tales of the Jedi comes out soon. I think it's October 20
Yeah.
something.
End of the month.
Looking forward to that big time. Been
Now
feel
that
live
is
action.
being dropped all at once, correct? All 6
Yes.
episodes?
Yes.
Like, why maybe they're testing the waters to see, because that's different for
Yeah. I wonder why they're doing that, because every episode's like 20 minutes, right? It's like a Clone
Yeah,
Wars episode.
they're shorties.
That's interesting, because they totally could have done it once a week, and I wouldn't have thought anything of it.
Yeah, so I'm curious. Maybe could be a sign. Who knows? I guess they figure anyone who's already nobody's maybe gonna subscribe to Disney Plus solely for Tales of the Jedi because it's
Maybe.
coming right in the middle of Andor. So like anyone who's gonna watch it is already subscribed and has to extend their subscription for Andor anyway. So maybe that's the logic.
I feel live action needs to still live up to Andor, but for Bad Batch, I'm more lenient, probably due to it being animated. Yeah, I guess we will have to adjust our expectations. I'm not gonna expect the complex writing of Andor for Bad Batch. I'm just gonna wish that if it is the same quality as season 1, I'm just gonna wish that they kind of took some of our complaints that we had for season 1 and fused those into season 2. What is Cassian's real last name? Because obviously Marva isn't his real mom. His last name is Solo. Given it by an Imperial officer.
Cassian Solo.
God damn it, that scene. Just looking Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen's eyes. You're welcome. Yeah, that was like the best part of that show for sure. It made me feel things. We know. You know, a
Yeah.
show is flawed when the finale. Yep.
I don't think the show needed to be saved, but a lot emotionally was riding on the finale. Like it needed to deliver what we had all been waiting years for in terms of their showdown.
What kind of perplexes me about it is that I felt like if you're not going to have great writing, fine. Like, if you're not gonna have Andor writing, fine. But the fact that they didn't really lean into like fan service as hard as they could have was kind of confusing to me. Like, why not do a bunch of flashback scenes then and really milk the fan service if you're not gonna if you're not gonna try to make a really compelling story?
Why not effing name drop freaking Padme, who is an equally important
Yes,
character, if you
or
freaking
Satine.
ask me. Yes! Oh my gosh, literally. Ugh.
Yeah, we don't. We're just gonna make ourselves angry.
Moving on.
Moving on. What's up, Aiden and Sapphire
Aiden.
Solace? Welcome, welcome. I really like the guy working with them in this episode. That was an ex-stormtrooper. He was cool. Yeah, I liked everybody on the team for different reasons. They were all great, and I almost felt like a little bit of panic at the end when it felt like when Andor like deserted and he's like, "All right, I'm out of here." It's like, wait, are we gonna see her again? Are we gonna see Cinta again? Like any of them? And then
Yeah.
I hope so, but I don't know for sure. It's not 100%.
I hope, because she's gotta deliver the payload to Luthen, right? And the way it's going, it seems like we know obviously that Cassian eventually gets fully enthralled and like actually willingly joins the rebellion and isn't just doing it for the money. We know he has to get to that point. So I can't imagine that Luthen would look at what happened in the mission, be like, literally everybody else died, but you are more valuable than I even thought you were. Like, you should reconsider this career path.
Yeah.
So I think Luthen's gonna still be around, and hopefully we see Vel, rendezvous with him. I don't know, but I feel like Luthen's got to be the one to convince Cassian. What the heck?
Hey, get out of here, bro. This is the Cat
How
and Zach show.
how are you in the chat but not freaking on stage?
Come on, man.
Kick him out. We
Mods,
haven't told you.
can we ban that user, mods?
Oh my god. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Alex. Don't fire us.
Anyway, Perrin, was he so he's the guy in the last scene? I didn't really catch his name, but the guy that was telling Luthen about, oh, there's been an attack on that planet. Do you have anything from there? I could be wrong.
Oh, I didn't even know he was a named character.
I didn't know either. Good soldiers follow orders. Thank you, Fulcrum.
Fulcrum for the win.
It was nice to have bad guys Imperials who could recognize danger and act on it. The mustache guy in the tower, for example, makes the stakes higher. Yes, I was also going to say, I liked how the guy who was in charge of the facility, I liked how you almost felt bad for him because in helping the rebels steal all the money, even if he survives that, the Imperials are probably going to blame him. Like, they're like, oh, you were incompetent. You let the rebels get in and pull this heist off, and like all of his family and everything. It's like you almost feel a little bad for them because he's kind of screwed either way.
Yeah, and then they throw in him having a heart attack in the middle of all that. It's like, all right, I'm not gonna not feel bad for an old man huffing and puffing and then collapsing to the ground. So, Zach.
What's up, Zach?
But yeah, you're so right. It's the equivalent of what happened with the manager for Cyril, his kind of superior, and Cyril's plan. I can't say that name without like blurring it in my mouth.
That name. I'm always like, it's S something. Like,
yeah,
cereal.
No, yes, that's the only way I can remember because he was eating cereal that episode.
I'm convinced they did that on purpose.
It has to be. It has to be. But like his superior took the hit and they all got fired. So, and that's the thing, they had big plans for the Aldhani base. Like they were talking about expansion and stuff. That's why the engineer was there in the first place. So
right.
Oh
yeah, Alice, you're right. He was a terrible person, but I don't know. I guess I felt bad for his family. It's like they're gonna get all wrapped up in this investigation, and they might get blamed because their papa really screwed up and let the wolves in the barn. Episode was dope. Yeah, it was 100%. Is there anything else that we can tell? I was a little. I wish that we got more from the Senate scene with Mon Mothma. Personally, do you feel the same way?
No, I do too, and I hope that is Tom said after we watched the episode, he was like, "You realize it's going to be the last time we see the Senate scene in this show, right?" And I was like, "No, they have to show it again." I was like, "How could you even think about that?" I was like, "There's no way they would tease the Senate and show all of their reactions to this, because they're going to have to be involved in the like whatever the retaliation slash response process is going to be to this, correct? Because it was technically
Yeah, I would
a
think.
attack on the empire as a whole. I don't know, but I was like, don't even manifest that. But I did want to see. I know this show isn't one for fan service, so I'm just telling myself now the show doesn't have to be riding on cameos or any sort of special appearances. And I'm kind of fully accepting that all of the cameos I was originally anticipating are not going to come to fruition. But you could have just showed us, like, I don't know, Jar Jar or something.
Yeah, my mind was like, are we gonna see Bale? Are we gonna see Masameda? Are we gonna see Slime? Just like show me. I thought that Masameda was gonna be like, oh, thank you, Senator, but that's enough or whatever. And I was like expecting that,
Right.
and it was just, it didn't happen. And they really don't show the Senate again, then they're going down a path that I cannot follow.
Oh gosh,
They're
no,
breaking my
don't listen to
heart.
Tom. Don't listen to Tom. He can't. No, he's wrong. Let's manifest it. He's not right. He's wrong.
I'm on
But I
board
hope
with that.
not.
Top side piece, Sly Moore. Yeah, she got name dropped. I really hope she's in the show. Imagine a live action Ronin series, my dream. Still have not watched Visions, but I've heard of this Ronin character. I think they made a book about him that I,
He was so good. Oh my gosh. See, Visions is proof that animation can have incredible writing
yeah,
and be high
that's what I've heard.
stakes. It was, yeah, you gotta start catching up because they're bringing it back, right? They're bringing
I
out
think
a whole new
so.
season of it, so thank gosh, because I loved it. I will say, I've not watched any of it since, but it was so good. It's so good.
Will Krennic show up this season or next? I don't know that he does, because Krennic is working on the Death Star at this time. So unless Andor dips its toes into those waters, I don't know why Krennic would show up. But Birdchurch, I love Krennic. I would love to see him. I'm just saying it how I think it is.
I agree. I originally thought that he and Galen Erso would be two very plausible
Yeah.
cameos and appearances, but I don't think the show is going in that direction. Maybe not this season, at least.
It's possible for next. I would say more likely for season 2, because it sounds like they're going to be jumping around a lot time wise in season 2 from interviews with the writer. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. We still need to get K2SO at some point.
Yeah, well, that I've been told was somehow everybody knew. I was like, when the show first was coming out, I was like, K2SO is like my favorite effing character. I can't wait. And people immediately were like, he's not going to be in it until season 2. I was like, how do y'all know? But I think that is like a consensus now.
Yeah.
I think he's not actually going to be in it till season 2. So
I hope he's in it like a good amount in season 2, because honestly, you're right. Like, he was probably my favorite character in the group, and I loved his like dynamic with Cassian. It was great.
yeah, not to mention Alan Tudyk is like amazing. So like,
Yeah.
why not take advantage of him? Like, well, he's just so good, just so good.
How many episodes are still to come? I believe 6, right? Is that right?
We're halfway. This was only the halfway point, which makes me extremely hopeful.
Yeah. Like, I'm already willing to crown it as like the best live action show. So it's like, so I mean, unless they screw this up, like it's doing really well for itself.
I don't even need the final half of the season.
Yeah, I'm good, Disney. I've seen all I need to see. Good job, guys. Senate building really cleaned up last time we've seen it. The Avatar of Light and the Shadow wrecked that place. I thought about that when I was watching. I was like, man, this is the same place where Palpatine and Yoda fought at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Like,
OMG.
yeah. I do you ever do that where it's like you revisit a location and it's like, I can't believe this is the same spot where this happened? Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was me during this scene. Haven't watched Visions. I do not like anime. Yeah, Aiden, we're in the same boat. That is why I haven't watched it. I don't like anime. Cue the
It's
memes
so
where
good,
everybody like
guys.
points the swords at you and you're just like, oh no. The book series 1 episode is legendary. I almost bought the book, but then I was like, I should probably watch Visions before I read this.
Now I want the book to read more about him because that was the opener episode and it started with a bang. It was like, oh my gosh, who is this man? So, but yeah, a
Did
live action series of literally any of the Visions shows, with the exceptions of like maybe the Toby episode, the little baby droid, but anything in Visions, I would take a more in depth live action series.
Zex got the book too. The doctor
Oh.
was like Miles Kanata's husband or twin brother. I like the doctor. I thought he was funny.
It was very
Uh,
cool that he had like those arms.
yeah, like definitely great design, character design. I loved how he was like, I tried my best.
I know. He was like,
Poor
please
guy.
don't kill me, please.
I'm surprised that they killed the. I mean, okay, so I predicted that they would kill the kid.
Mm.
But then when he made it, when he got like critically injured, and they're like, oh, they're taking him to the doctor. I just assumed he would live because that's usually what happens in movies.
Well, also she gave him the stim, and I was like, okay, they had a stim at the ready, like he'll be
Yeah,
all right. But I'm coming off of the high of like the Batman where he gives himself the stim and then he's just like
I'm
a
fine.
superhuman.
Yeah, why didn't I do this the whole time?
Yeah. Like unfortunately they were not the same potion was not in Nemec's
No.
stim, sadly. But I was like, don't fake me out like that. Don't make me think, okay, we can do this, give him the stim. But that whole scene where he's yelling the directions, literally, I wanted to like chills, like almost even like nervous laughter of like this is so freaking good. Like
Yeah,
that's the thing about this show. And we met his character 2 episodes ago. I don't even know how much screen time he necessarily had, but I was freaking choked up watching
yeah.
that scene.
He was just so innocent and like idealistic, and he just wanted to do good, and he wanted to fight the Empire, and then him dying was like one final kick in the metaphorical nuts. And
Yeah. Well, it's like they technically were successful. They executed the mission. They just lost half of their crew
yeah,
along the way, but that
yeah.
made it feel like a loss still, and like we need to avenge him even though they succeeded. But it is sad.
What's up, Sal? Welcome in. Episode was so
Sad.
good. Yes, it was. A bunch of people saying hi to Sal. He's a pretty popular guy, that Sal.
He's the best.
Lucy Bees is Fortuna. Bib's brother, part of Saw's partisans.
Oh,
I forgot we were gonna see Saw, honestly. And then I was thinking back to the trailer and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna see the meme lord himself.
could that be the next arc, perhaps? Because where's this gonna go? Because Cassian's splitting off on his own. He's peacing out. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
I imagine Luthen has to track him down now. So
Probably.
I wonder where he's gonna go. Cassian, that is.
He's not dumb enough to go back to Ferrix, you think? Right? Not now.
I wouldn't think so, but are we getting more with the people on Ferrix, or is that it for them? Can you think of anything
I
in the
don't know.
That's a
Tom
great thing.
says that
We don't
he
know.
saw an image. Tom is convinced that he saw a little glimpse, a clip of like stormtroopers or clones, rather, one or the other, marching on Ferrix. So who knows? Maybe that was just trailer bait, but
Maybe a flashback. I mean, it would have to be
yeah,
if it were, yeah, the clones. It'd have to be a flashback.
yeah. He thinks the clones. He thinks there's going to be a flashback in which the clones capture Andor's adoptive father and show how he was.
Cassian Andor. I love it. Alan. Oh, talking about right.
Oh, Alan
Since
Tudyk.
Firefly. Yeah, I'm a leaf on the wind. Watch as I soar. Yeah, Stanley's Watch as I soar. God, that broke me when I watched it. I don't like it either. The animation style gives me immediate announce somehow. Yeah, I've never liked the animation style. Like, it's a bit close-minded of me. It's just never like, I don't know. Like, I can't get into it. I don't know. Shoot me. the doctor was shit at his job.
Oh, he literally got squashed. I'm surprised he didn't look like Flat Stanley after that. Like, there was, how could you fix all of his insides? Literally, the fact that he was even able to use his diaphragm to scream at Cassian, climb, was a miracle in and of itself. So,
Yeah. I mean, like, you can't bring the doctor a pancake and expect to make a watermelon out of it. Like, he did get, I don't even know how heavy that thing must have been, but
he
it's,
needed the mod on
yeah.
Tatooine.
They should have gone to Tatooine and found those kids and the mod.
Here we are saying if Andor goes to effing Tatooine, we are gonna lose it. And now we're like, they should have gone to the mod shop on
If
Tatooine.
he's like, he gets the ship and he's like, I'm gonna go to Tatooine now. And like, I'm not watching the show anymore. I'm done.
Could you imagine? Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, you're right. I forgot about the Saw arc as well. So we know that there's that. And there's also an arc of him. You know that footage where he's like in a, it looks like he's in a
Yeah, in the
prison
prison. Yeah.
and he's leading a prison break. Do you think he gets caught?
I think that's I would, if I had to guess, I would say that prison thing will be the next 3, unless they abandon this whole 3 structure thing, which they could do. But assuming that they keep up with the 3 episode like bunches, I would say that he does get caught, goes to prison, escapes, or like Luthen helps him escape, and then the last arc would be with Saw or something. But I could be totally wrong.
No, I think I forgot about that. Now I want to rewatch the footage and see what we have yet to watch play out in the show and try to deduce what could happen. But I think that could be it because oh my god, where was I? I think they made an effort to show that Cassian's obviously smart, but even Luthen had to tell him like,
Yeah.
why are you carrying a tracker? Like literally, like be smarter than this. So it's clear that he still has some things to learn. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just tries to get out of there from the planet where they landed and something happens or he slips up somehow because he's not full rebel spy mode just yet.
Yeah, he's a bit of a loose cannon. He doesn't think things through all the way. I mean, we saw him kill people in the first episode. He's grown a little bit, but I'm kind of glad that he didn't completely change into I'm a rebel now after this. Like, I'm glad that he's still very much like, I don't trust anybody. Like, I've got to look after number one. Do you feel the same way, or do you wish that he was more a team player, if you will?
No, it totally makes sense because they really were hammering in the whole time that even he didn't trust anyone there. And I think by also the fact that he went into the tent literally pointing the gun at Vel, I was like, why you gotta be so hostile? But it shows like he didn't even trust her in that moment. Like he's definitely, so I think I preferred it that way too. Like I feel like it would have been way too, his character has been so like brazen and just like blunt the whole time about his priorities so far. Like this is a much, not that Cassian's a softie by Rogue One, but he shows his vulnerability. Like he has moments where he's more like friendly-ish, I guess. So I would have been like, that happened too fast if he was immediately like, oh my god, everyone died except me. I need to join the rebellion. Like, I think he's gonna read.
That's what the kid would have wanted me to be.
Yeah. He's probably gonna read his manifesto though, because Nemec said my last entry is about you. So he's probably gonna read what he wrote about him, and it could be a come to Jesus moment.
Cassian's a piece of shit. I hate that guy.
I hope he dies with me. And then Cassian's like,
I hope the Empire builds this big space station and then it shoots it at this planet called Scarif and then it kills Cassian. Cassian's like, that is oddly specific.
Oh my gosh.
Quick poker. The dinner party scene with Sly Moore already happened off screen. We're never gonna see it. I know. We were talking about it earlier. It's such a bummer. That kid was brutally injured. That is a horrific way to die. The amount of force, you're not gonna make it. Yeah, it probably like crushed his sternum and damaged his lungs. Poor Nemec. The doctor with 8 arms can't save you. No one is safe in this series. Space Miracle Axe. They should have had Yellow playing in the background and a slow-mo shot of Andor killing Skeen. Now imagine this heist was set up and happened in one episode. It would not have been as good, Fulcrum. Like, it would have not been. I wouldn't have cared about anybody. It just would not have been effective. Will
Yeah, I would not.
Cassian having the manifesto lead to anything? I think, like you were saying, it might begin to change his mind, which I could see happening.
Yeah, a little redirect of his moral compass, perhaps, but he's still very tightly wound right now. Even that scene where Tamarin tries to just give him a little adjustment to improve his posture or stance as he's teaching him how to disguise, and Cassian like freaks out and is like, don't touch me. Like, he's very still. He's got to loosen up a little bit. So maybe, I don't know, maybe something will be happening with the manifesto.
He's got to get a massage. That's where he should go. He should go to the massage parlor, just unwind a little bit.
OMG. He's got to go to, what's her face's on Tatooine.
No,
oh my
Cat,
God.
he can't go to Tatooine. I don't anywhere but Tatooine.
All of their problems would be solved. Tatooine has everything. Nemik would have survived if he went to the mod shop. Cassian should go enjoy a nice drink.
Listen to some Max Rebo.
Yes, Max Rebo cures all. So that's the solution.
The only reason that I would accept him going to Tatooine is if they want to like force a Watto cameo. I'd be down, but beyond that, he should stay clear of that Dust Bowl. Once again, Luthen's great, even with that little screen time. Luthen is still my favorite character, and we've barely seen him in like the last 3 episodes.
I'm curious. I want to ask your opinion on this because
don't worry about it.
I loved that needs to be our merch. Don't talk to me. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
I loved that final moment there where he gets that news and he has to excuse himself to go to the back, and he just lets out just that sigh and laugh of relief. But not that there was something sneaky about it, but it was just immediate him laughing with joy and glad that it happened, and no sign of fear or care at all in the event that I mean, granted, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't know that half the squad died. But I'm curious, like, that for some reason, y'all back me up or
care.
Yeah, that's what I was in that moment. I was like, is he even sad at the prospect at all that some of these people might have died to make this happen? Or is he just selfishly, extremely just focused on the mission? Get it done. If you die, I don't care. Because all of the rebels I think it was pretty clear. They were all like, we're all going to die or this is going to happen. They were all very much clearly ready to go out if need be. So you're probably right. Maybe he doesn't even care. He's just so steadfast with the cause.
He's giving me, like, this is why he's so great, because he's kind of an enigma. Like, he's giving me mixed signals. Like, on one hand, he gives Cassian the kyber crystal, and he's like, I want this back. Like, I want this back. Like, you're really talented. Like, I think you have a bright future. And then he tells I don't know her name, the blonde girl.
Vel,
yeah. He tells Vel, he's like, oh, if he dies, whatever, he's expendable. He's like, it's just a mercenary. Like, who cares? And so I don't know if he genuinely does like see an investment in Cassian, or if we saw him through the lens of like a recruiter and how they're gonna like, oh, like, you're very bright future, like, you're very talented, like, you can help the rebellion. And then as soon as they turn around and like, he's just like, screw them. They're just a number. Like, we can
on to the next thing.
Exactly.
You could be right. Like, he is just so deep in it. He's willing to expend, as you said, anybody for the cause. Like, almost in a way, sounds similar to like Saw Gerrera in a sense. Like, I don't know if Saw would even though expend his team members, but he's an extremist.
Yeah.
As Mon Mothma describes him by Rogue One. So that's where I'm curious where the, let's call it war line comes into play.
Let's call it Whoa. I'm gonna be repeating like every line while I'm watching it that he says.
What memes are we gonna get from Saw in this
It's a
season?
gold mine. I feel like the direction that they give him is just like, just be as weird as possible. Like when you say your lines, just do your thing for us. Like do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see if Yavin 4 will be maybe at the end of this season or maybe next season. I would guess next season. Maybe not even that, but if between the two, definitely next season. Clone
Yeah, I'd say
stormtroopers
probably.
on Ferrix. Yeah. Awesome thing about Saw is he doesn't have that breathing thing on him yet. Possible we see how it happens.
That's a good observation, Charlie.
Chat, I don't it's been a while since I've seen Rebels, but does he have it in Rebels? I don't remember him having it in Rebels. And that would be after
I forget what he
this.
even looks like in Rebels.
He looks
Now I gotta
younger
Google.
in Rebels.
Yeah.
Yes, Andor will be back on Ferrix. There's a few shots in the trailer. So maybe he just goes straight to Ferrix. Too bad Reva didn't teach Nemec the ways of immortality. I know.
OMG.
Damn, Fulcrum, you've always got a zinger queued up. Mon Mothma was cool as always. Yes. Many Bothans died to bring us this information. I can't like Saw. Not after seeing Forrest Whitaker in Last King of Scotland. I just can't like him. I've never seen Last King of Scotland, so I don't
What is
I don't
that?
I don't know why that rubs you the wrong way, Alice. Yeah. When the heist was going on and the eye ceremony was taking place as a cover, it reminded me of when the prisoners were playing music to cover Tuco's tortured scene in 1966, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I still need to watch that. I'm kind of ashamed that I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, I haven't either. It's okay.
We can be ashamed
Sal
together.
is just has a very good film knowledge. Sal actually like has a good extensive film background. So I gotta get on
the hell out of that. So I mean,
yeah.
here's another bad confession. I'm Italian. I was a film major, and I didn't watch The Godfather until I was 22. So
I still haven't watched it, and I literally want to be an actor and like in the filmmaking industry.
It's not a great
But
look at.
at this point, I'm like, do I film a reaction to it? But am I gonna just get absolutely roasted for not having seen it by now? Because I grew up not being able to watch it. I grew up not being able to watch that and Scarface. So like now that I'm in my adulthood, I still associate like I still feel like I'm a kid and I have to answer to my parents. So I look at those movies, I'm like, oh, I can't watch that. Like
I just watched Scarface this year, so I was in the same boat for a while.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta watch Godfather. It really is as good as they say.
And even like the second one is up there in like the top 10 movies of all
Yeah.
time, correct? Like even the sequels are good. So I know I'm bad. I'm very bad. I have to get on that.
Sal loves this 3-episode arc structure. I do too. I wish that it was like we said earlier. I wish they released it all at the same time. Cyril and Dedra are probably going to team up in the next episode or two. When they do, Cyril will show her the hollow image of Andor. Yeah, I was reading an interview with Tony Gilroy about Dedra and how like you're gonna like root for her, but because she's like facing all this like opposition from within the ISB, like primarily like a male industry, like all the men around her, and they're kind of looking down on her.
Yeah.
And you root for her, but then you realize like, oh god, like she's good at her job, and in rooting for her, I'm rooting for like bad things to happen to the protagonist. So it's like it's gonna cause conflict in you, and I think that's great. I think that's good writing.
It is because I'm rooting for Cyril too. Like he has an extremely dynamic, I wouldn't even call him necessarily a full-fledged antagonist yet because we see his true nature and he is a way more vulnerable softy than what he presents himself to be when we see him like actually at work when he's leading the mission to capture Cassian. So I was rooting for him that like seeing someone in those soft vulnerable moments, just like seeing her like you said, struggling in the office, like trying to fight the ranks and being constantly undermined or
Yeah,
underestimated. Like
by that one asshole.
I know, right? Like the competition. I crack up now that scene where the two of them are waiting for their supervisor to come into the room because she's trying to get access to the files that he has because it's
Right.
part of her jurisdiction and she wants to see the evidence or whatnot. And they're both just standing in the room looking at each other. Like that was so hysterical to me. I love that scene. But I am rooting for her and like she's extremely smart, clearly. Like that's the
Yeah.
likable already like they're both very likable. So who is like the I think they've just painted overall the empire and like the kind of behavior that was going down at the Aldani base, like the way they talked about the locals and whatnot. Like, I feel like that's just the overarching, like the way that the light that painted the empire in. I feel like we've not seen before. Like the way they were just even talking about the
Yeah.
the native people was just disgusting and like
It's I think to kind of piggyback off of that, I think that the great thing that the show has done is that there aren't really villains in the normal sense that we would observe them as. Like, there's no Darth Vader, there's no Emperor. Well, like they're out there somewhere. But in this show, in the confines of this show, like the villains are not really bad people. They're just doing their jobs. And I think the show paints the Empire as like this giant machine that yeah, the cogs that make it up aren't always bad. Like there are some good people like who are acting as gears that like turn the machine of the Empire. But like they're just kind of swept up in the government of the place that they live in. Like doesn't make them bad. Um, I think that's really great because like Cyril, he's not a bad dude, and Deidre,
yeah.
she doesn't seem evil. She's just trying to do her job, and I
Yeah.
like that because we haven't really seen that. Usually, it's like the Imperials are bad. Like look in Kenobi, like all the Imperials, there's bad. Um, even like I was never on the Reva hate train, but I will concede that like they could have made her more likable, I think. In
Yeah.
a similar way that like Cyril and Deidre aren't like people don't hate them. They could have made her a little more likable. Um, I don't think she deserved any of the backlash she got, and I don't think she was as
Oh.
awful as people thought she was. But I definitely think they could have made her more likable.
Yeah, it was definitely because Moses Ingram is like great. If you've seen like
I've heard, yeah.
Queen's Gambit, like she is a naturally extremely likable person, but her character was like way more rigid and not as you didn't see that side of vulnerability till it was almost too late and you just like had already such a strong sense of like feeling towards her character that it was harder to dial back. I don't know, but you're right. You're very right. That is a good point. Like, I gotta give it to them. They've done a good job of showing, like, how the people, like, the Empire's like the biggest employment gig, like, it seems like in the
Yeah,
galaxy right now. Like, all of the how big, like, Deidre's office building, like, that whole huge, like, to think of the bajillions of employees working there, and
the
it's like,
ISB, baby.
yeah, like,
And Yularen's at the top of that. I wonder if we see Yularen. He's like the head of the ISB. Um,
oh,
nice reference, Sal. It's crazy we got two Harry Potter actors in the show. The other one is it's Mrs. Fig, the actress that plays Mrs. Fig, I think. Cyril's mom. I think she's Mrs. Fig in Harry Potter. So that would be two Harry
wait,
Potter actors.
Mrs. Fig? Oh my gosh, you're so right.
It's because like
That's
I recognize her
hysterical.
voice. I was like, her voice sounds familiar. Like it's very like distinct.
Ah, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Sal just finished season 3 of Breaking Bad this morning, getting super juicy. Oh man, Sal, yeah. Seasons 4 and 5 are like some of the best television of all time. I'll die on that hill. The Polynesian Spa. Yes,
That's where Cassian's gonna
that's where
go.
Cassie needs to go. Tatooine, where all problems are created and solved. I found it's the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Such a great quote. I'm really hoping next episode of Andor has to rescue a child and hide them in his jacket to escape. Fulcrum, you're undefeated.
I might. If there is anybody under the age of 15 that Cassian has to team up with in this show, I will riot. Absolutely
I'm
not.
so sick of kids. If there are any kids watching, like, don't take it personally. I'm so sick of kids in Star Wars. Like, we've done like The Mandalorian, The Bad Batch, and then Kenobi. Like, technically the Book of Boba Fett too, but like 4 straight shows that had like a kid and like heavily involved. Like, just do something else for the love of God. And they have been.
No more. No more. I can't.
Jennifer Beals on Tatooine is something we all need right now. She's very dead. At this time she's alive, but she gets
She's
very
still
dead,
going.
which is sad. Hey, don't worry about it. That's my line. Breaking Bad is one of the best shows, Sal. I agree, Alice. It's my favorite one.
After all of this is over, like Rings of Power and House of the Dragon.
When this war's over.
After it's all over, I need to watch Better Call Saul, like for real.
Oh, it's so good.
It's time.
Just be patient with it. It's a little slow, like, but once you fall into the groove, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Luthen only cares about the mission being completed, in my opinion, the greater cause. I'm leaning that way too, Bird Church.
The vibe I'm getting.
Stanley's thinks the same. Fulcrum agrees. Saw is one of my favorite characters. He's ironically one of my favorite characters just because I love the way he talks. Oh man, you guys have been great today with the interacting. Like, we're so far behind on comments. Like, we were talking about this like a while ago. He has the chest plate, but not the mask in Rebels. I want to see how he loses his limbs. Yes. I also need to watch that movie. I think The Godfather. They're telling you to watch The Godfather. As an Italian, my mommy did not let me and my sisters watch The Godfather. It's understandable. It's a pretty rated R movie. Watched Sopranos for the first time this year. I still haven't seen that.
I need to watch that.
I'm excited for Death Troopers.
Yeah.
Italian moms are very strict, indeed. The Titanic for us, and saw them running. The next ship's going down. She didn't tape the car drawing scene. Yeah, that's the best scene though. We'll see what end up Uber Imperial or turn into a rebel. What do you think, Kat? Which way do you think he's going to turn?
Oh, I think he's going extreme. It's clear he has so much internal pride and he's just been getting nothing but shots from his mom. Like, he's trying to redeem himself, I think. The way he's obsessively looking at Cassian's picture, he's totally going like...
He thinks he's cute.
He wants to find him so he can ask him out.
He wants to get with Cassian. The good old VHS tape days. I miss the 90s. Yeah, we were kind of on the tail end of that. I do remember watching VHS tapes though. I liked the way they smelled. I don't know if that was a weird thing I did as a kid, but I would like smell the VHS tape.
I liked the sound it made. All of them opened with that THX, like...
Yeah, that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I did not like that when I was little.
I gotta find that on YouTube just to relive my memories.
Read Lost Stars. Claudia Gray does an incredible job of portraying how not everyone in the Empire are bad. They're just people working for a living. Love that aspect about Star Wars. I've had the Lost Stars for years, and I have not opened it because I remember hearing about how it was good, and I just haven't gotten to it. Maybe I'll read it next. If you want to a better look at Reva in a different way, go look up Sam Witwer's Knowledge and Wisdom. Talks about her character and why she would be like that. I will link it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, please do.
It could go either way, Bird Church. I want him to go Uber Imperial. I would also like that. I agree with Kat. Let's go. I made the cut at 16. I'm sorry, or Nagillo. I don't know what we're a bit behind on the comments, but you're 6. I see. Yeah, you're good. You're good. If you're 16, you're not a child.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Zach hates children. Confirmed. I don't want children, Fulcrum. So like, do with that information what you will. Cassian Andor and Kevin McAllister at it again. Kevin. He does kind of look like him. We need another babysit show. We need more. More, you say?
That's just scared me. Oh my god.
We haven't used that in a while.
Yeah.
Zach wrote the witches. He knows the potion ingredients to turn kids into mice. I wish. I kind of wanted to go rebel. Okay, there's definitely a chance he does. Maybe he'll go like hardcore Imperial first and then see the error of his ways. Godfather is over 3 hours. That's a watch. Yes, yeah. Buckle up when you watch it. It's a long movie. Can you make the noise of Death Troopers, Zach? It's my favorite. I don't know. I've never tried. It's kind of like you can't really understand them. They're just like making sounds.
Oh my god.
It's not as clear as my voice.
Oh my god.
Watto with a Death Trooper helmet on. I want to make somebody.
That sounds like it hurt your throat so bad.
I guarantee you no one's ever had that thought before, to put Watto on a Death Trooper helmet.
They like capture him or something, and then he won't shut up. So they're just like, put this helmet on him.
You will never silence me.
Oh my god.
Okay, I gotta edit. Keep the stream open for the algorithm. Thank you, but I'm a mute so I can focus. Sorry for my perfect grammar. Oh, you're good, Andogella. I appreciate it. Happy editing. It's really alarming how this show doesn't have a Mandalorian episode in it. Give it a chance, Fulcrum. There's still 6 more. Patience.
How old would Din be at this point?
Even maybe
born?
In his teens, like his early teens or mid-teens.
So he and Cassian aren't that far apart in age-ish. It could happen.
It could happen. I'll roll my eyes so hard if it does, but to age the Imperial officers, if I had that meteor shower at my doorstep, I'd take time out of my day. Yeah, totally. It was beautiful. We never really talked about that. I thought that was beautiful. Like incredible visual effects with a meteor shower. Everybody loves that. Yeah, I'm happy you all liked it. I haven't been doing Watto much. I apologize for that.
It was worth the sore throat that you'll have for the rest of the
week. Cyril has a job interview next week with Space Uber ran by Watto. Tell me, Cyril, what is your greatest flaw? We thank you. Death Troopers only motivated by credits equals so scary. Watto undercover as a Death Trooper. Late teens, maybe early 20s. Yeah, we caught up to the comments. With that, anything else you want to cover? I mean, we didn't get to Lord of the Rings.
Quick predictions for Rings of Power. Because what do you think is going to happen, Zach? Because I have absolutely no clue.
I think that it's going to end with Halbrand not being revealed as Sauron to the characters, but being revealed as Sauron to like the people who know the lore. Like he's going to be like, oh, I have this idea for these Rings of Power things that we can make. And then like turns to the camera and like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like it's Sauron.
Oh, God.
What do you think about? Do you think the Balrog is going to come into play, or do you think that was just set up for future?
I think the Balrog could turn into a, because I don't think the dwarves can single-handedly handle that. I feel like it's gonna turn into they just shunned the elves and pushed them away, and then they're gonna be like, wait, we need your help.
There's a freaking demon in here, and the elves are like, sorry, you didn't help us.
Or they'll have a lesson, and the elves will roll in. I just want to see the elves in freaking action, like so badly, which we have not seen in this show yet.
Yeah,
I want to except for like obviously that opening montage, but since then. I want to see the elves fighting. That's my one request, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really have no freaking clue at all what's going to transpire in this episode, other than I'm starting to just accept the fact now that it's probably going to end on a cliffhanger like all of them have. Like, there's going to be some sort of tease at the end that's just going to be like...
Sal predicts there will be rings and there will be power. Honestly, that's not like a guarantee, Sal. Like we have not seen rings yet. if they go a full season without showing Rings of Power, that'd be a choice. Halbrand looks in a mirror and smirks at his reflection as Sauron. Yeah, something like that.
Whoa.
Halbrand probably gets revealed as Sauron. I've been on this train since the beginning. I just like to add, I've been like banning the Halbrand as Sauron drum.
Yeah.
What odds are you giving on that, Sal? What can men do against such reckless hate? Fulcrum back at it again. I hope the finale will be a Mando episode. Oh my god. I would die of laughter if they somehow like got the rights to the Mandalorian and then just did that. That'd be amazing. And it's not even like set in the Star Wars universe, it's just set in Middle Earth.
I would cease to exist. I don't think I could go on living my life normally after that.
The age of men is over. The time of the orcs has come. And he like just slams the spear into the dude's chest.
Oh, youch.
The 3 elven rings are made because they can't wait for the mithril to be mined. That is actually, that makes a lot of sense, Stanley's. I like that. I don't like the whole mithril thing. I really don't like that. That's not from the books at all. Like that mithril does not do that. And I don't love that they did that, but I don't like, it's not like gonna make me stop watching the show, but I don't love that. I don't want Halbrand as Sauron. It's too obvious. I want it to either be Halbrand because I think it's better than like the Gandalf dude being Sauron, but I'd also be okay with like Sauron showing up in this episode and being like,
yeah, I wouldn't mind a surprise.
Yeah. Hey, I don't watch is so.
Hey, I do watch it and I still don't have any predictions, Sal, so.
Show us about Dumbledore Calrissian and how you must get the rings back to Mordor. You got some of that right. All right, folks, we've gone over an hour. I think it was a great stream. You guys were great today.
This was a fun one.
It was fun, yeah. We'll have to do this again sometime, probably next week. But thank you for tuning in to the Cat and Zach show. We're gonna go probably eat dinner and then enjoy some Rings of Power tonight.
Yes.
Have a good one, folks. Thank you for watching. Like the stream if you haven't yet, and we will see you in the future. See ya, everybody.
Bye, guys.